pregnant has actually been one of the journey I've looked up to for the longest time. I did not marry on time. Yes, I didn't get married on time, but I've always yearned to be married. And if you've been a part of this family, you will know what it has been between me getting married, trying to get pregnant, and up until it finally happened. And when it actually happened, I didn't even know that it had happened. I had no idea, but there were signs that there were signs that were just there and staring at me, that was supposed to tell me that okay, this was what was happening to you. But because it has stayed long, and because I wasn't really expecting it, I wasn't really looking out for those signs. And those are not even the signs that I've read on Google that are the signs of pregnancy, by the way. So yes, welcome back to another beautiful episode of me being in your faces. Of course, you know, it's your baby girl Josephine Kenichi, and today I'm talking about the first signs of pregnancy that I experienced. Uncommon signs, by the way, because I didn't know that okay, it had happened. And then my first trimester journey. So the first sign of pregnancy that I experienced, of course, I think before I even missed my period, I started noticing my belly button was biting me on a frequent, like any small thing. I'll just be having uneasiness in my belly button. I was just asking myself, what is going on? Like I just said, I wasn't expecting that it had happened. So, and it was not something that anybody had talked about that were the signs of pregnancy to me. So I wasn't even looking in that direction. I just shifted it aside and said, okay. Then the second was me being restless always. Like I could just be on the chair and the next thing I'm feeling all restless. I want to lie on the ground. My body is doing me somehow. I'm just feeling weird. Like it's not my body that I'm in. Like at most times I'll just leave the chair and lie on the ground. There was a particular day my husband's friend even came to the house, and I just left the chair and I was lying on the ground. My husband was like, come out of the ground, go to the room or something. But I just wanted to be on the ground. Guy, leave me alone. You know, like it was, the restlessness was just high. Any small thing I was on the ground, any small thing I wanted to sit on the ground to eat. I wanted to sleep on the ground. I wanted to lie on the ground. I wanted anything. Let me just be on the ground. Don't put me on the chair. Don't put me on the bed. It was on the ground. Then the next sign was I noticed my boobs increased. Yes, and the day I noticed my boobs increase was I was creating content in parlor here. I went to wear my clothes and I just couldn't button the my boobs increased. I also added weight, so I just couldn't button the clothes. I was asking myself, which kind chop you dey chop? You need to work on your weight too. This one way, you know. But I didn't know that was it. My boobs just felt fuller and all. So that was how I was just working in, you know, without knowing that God had answered my prayers. Then the next sign of pregnancy that I didn't even know was me always being thirsty. Like I was drinking water on the like per second. Any small thing, my throat was feeling dry, my throat was feeling sugary, and somehow like I just wanted to drown that sugary taste. Like I was always taking water. Even at night, I could take 3 sachets of water before the day breaks, and it didn't occur to me that anything. Because I was taking a lot of water, I was also urinating frequently. So I'll take water, I'll go to the toilet, I'll pee, I'll come back, I'll take. That's like kilo sele. But I know frequent urination is one of the early signs of pregnancy. But of course, because I was not thinking in that direction, I didn't know that it had happened. Okay, so yes, I said I was restless, and the next one is that I was always tired. I could be very energized 1 minute, the next minute I'm breathless. There was one particular day that stood out for me. I was preparing to go to work, and then I just I baited. I wanted to strap my bra, and my breath, I just started feeling tired. My breath, I was struggling for breath. I just couldn't even do anything. I just had to lay down on the bed for a while, and that while was like close to 3 hours. I laid on the bed until I felt myself, and then by tomorrow I'll be 8 weeks pregnant. Today happens to be the 29th of March, Tuesday, so tomorrow I'll be 8 weeks pregnant. Yeah, I actually went to register for antenatal yesterday. I started the process, and the registration, I think I was asked to do 1 or 2 tests, so I gave them my blood sample and my urine sample, and I was asked to come for the results in the evening by 7. But my husband felt like it was going to be too late, so he said I should let that be and go today. So today I actually planned on going early, but it's already past 10 and I can't even raise myself. Some kind of tiredness has been coming with this pregnancy. I'm grateful for the journey because this is what I prayed for, so I'm basically not complaining. I have not had vomiting. So far so good. And some of the symptoms that some pregnant women usually tell me about first trimester, I've not had those. I think the only thing that I'm dealing with right now is tiredness and headache sometimes. Like this morning, I'm grateful that I woke up. I was able to make breakfast and kept my husband food on the middle table or the center table. I've eaten. I was pumped up about getting ready to go to the hospital to get my test, but every time I stand up I feel like I want to explode. My chest is so heavy, I'm so tired and everything, so I just have to listen to my body and just come here and lay down. So I was like, why not just give you guys update about this, and then subsequently we can continue. But right now I'm feeling so tired, and sometimes it's frustrating because when you have a lot of things you want to do, I just would have loved to be at the hospital, collect my results, go about the other registration process, and probably be done with things, as soon as possible. But I just have to listen to my body, and my body is saying, rest, mama. So that's what I'm going to do, or that's what I'm doing for now. And yeah, it happens like that for some time. I just feel this tiredness and all, and after a while it passes, and then I'm able to stand up and go and get prepared. So I'm just going to lay here until I have the strength to go bathe and then proceed for today's work. Yes, that was even the one that now told me that, are you sure nothing is sopping? By this time now I had missed my period. So but I didn't want to tell my husband. I didn't want to let him know that like I have missed my period. So when he was asking me like what is going on, and I just said maybe it's malaria, maybe it's sickness, because I didn't want to raise this hope. I didn't want we have gone through different series of highs and lows in the whole thing. We feel like okay, it had happened, and then we are back to square one and on. So I didn't want to put him through that. I didn't know what was going on with me. I didn't understand what it was, and I didn't want to make him feel like okay, this thing has finally happened, and then when we get to the hospital it's not it, and we are back from here to here. So I was just trying to downplay the whole thing, and thankfully he traveled that period, so it made situation easy for me. So I now when I missed my period, I secretly had to go check. I think a day after I missed my period, I just said let me wait a little. I now waited for the second day, but the anxiety was too much, so I just had to give myself the third day. And when I didn't see my period, I was like, hey, kilo sele. I now went to the hospital to check, and hey, when I saw the test and it said positive, I just couldn't contain myself. I was always hungry. I could just stay in the night and I'll just get hungry. My husband had to get cornflakes in the house, so I could always munch on it whenever I get hungry and felt like eating. I found myself not being able to go to work as often as I could, because in the mornings when I am preparing to go to work, I could just get suddenly tired. I'll just lie on the bed, and before I'll be getting to work, it's like 1, 2, 3. So I was told to let myself go through the process, not to stress it. So I tried not to stress it. And of course, immediately we heard that we were pregnant, we had to change a lot of things. Like my husband made sure that I didn't have to carry any weight, because my mother-in-law, of course, and my mom were like, this is the first 3 months were the time when anything could just about happen. So miscarriages were prone to happen then and stuff like that. So I should take things on the low. So carrying water, doing strenuous job were out of the matter for me. I just tried to, my husband bought hose, made sure that the tap was connected, the hose was connected to the drum. So whenever the tap was flowing, I just had to put on the tap, and that one was sorted. And every other thing, sweeping, I didn't have to use the normal sweeping. We had to buy a brush so that I can stand and just brush the house and all that. We just tried to make things easy. Anything that was going to stress me, I tried to reduce it. And if I felt like sleeping, I allowed myself to go to bed. So this is me just strolling to my junction to take keke. Normally I would fly bike to the junction, but because of our condition, I can't. I've been asked and warned not to try that, so I'm just strolling down to the junction where I can take keke. I just recently noticed that if I take a small stroll, all my chest, I'll be panting so much. And for someone that hardly sweats before, like I sweat when it's an extreme weather, but these days I noticed that one small waka, you will see sweat all over my face. But it is what it is. I'm close to the junction, so I'll just take keke from there to the hospital. I have heard in different quarters that pregnant women vomit. I have read on Google the signs of pregnancy. Even before I got pregnant, I have been reading. So whenever I see one sign like this, that's why we're always going from up to down until it finally happened. So I was expecting that vomiting will start as soon as possible. But 1 month came and went, nothing. Second month, I was not like, kilo sele, what's going on? But at a point, I just had to okay, I had to accept it, I had to own it, I had to carry my full chest that I'm part of those people that don't vomit. Hey! So I started enjoying the idea of me not vomiting. And then that was how it took us to 3 months, when we're supposed to cross the 13th week, when we're supposed to cross into the second trimester. And then I felt sick. It was malaria. So went to the hospital, told them that I was sick, and they recommended the malaria drug. They prescribed the malaria drug that went to get. My husband was very skeptical. I was like, the pregnant people take malaria drugs. I should just manage myself so I can cross into second trimester and then sit gidigba in second trimester. Then I can now take any drugs. But my mom is a nurse, his mom is a nurse, and they had both vetted it, because they were like, if the hospital could recommend that kind of drug for me as a pregnant person. They knew I was a pregnant person and they recommended it. Then of course it was okay for me to take it, but my husband kept being skeptical. He even made me become skeptical at a point, but I had to, you know, take the drug after my mother-in-law and my mom had vetted, like, okay, take it. At the point my mommy had to even say, if you don't take it, there are other precautions, there are other things that could crop up that you will not like, because malaria is not good for pregnant people. So we had to like shove our fears down the pit, and it allowed me to start taking the drug, and I started taking the drugs. So I think on the last day when I was supposed to finish the drug, then I finally vomited. But before I vomited, a day to, or rather a day before I was supposed to finish the drug, my belly button started paining me so bad. Like, it was paining me, I couldn't, everything I was eating was hanging in my throat. It was not digesting. I was so uncomfortable, nothing. So the next morning I was feeling like vomiting. I was like, vomit. But if that was going to relieve me from what I was feeling right now, by all means, vomit, come out. You know. So I tried to vomit. The thing was there, so all I just needed to do was put toothbrush in my mouth, and everywhere stew. Everywhere was just, oh, and I was relieved. The tummy went, just suddenly subsided. I laid down and it was just gone. All the pains was just gone. Everything. Like, okay. I was like, really? Okay, that's nice. And basically those were what basically that was how I went about my first trimester journey up until the second trimester. So I'm going to be updating you guys on my second trimester journey and what it has been like. So if you want to see that video, do stay tuned for my next video. Of course, subscribe to this channel. Subscribe. I hope this video was interesting. If it was, I hope you learned something. If it was, like this video. Just like it now. Just, you know, like it. Yes, there's a point there. Like it. Then of course share the video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.